Hello? Is it just me? Anybody there? Morning. It's at 6:30. 6:30. All right, let's go. Let's start warming up. So nice and easy if you're just getting started. I'm going to calibrate my coffee chainer real quick. All right. So 10-minute warm up. Then we're going to do 2 sets, 45 seconds high cadence, 30 seconds recovery. Then we're going to jump into the main set. A little bit harder than last week. We're going to do a minute 15 in our mid aerobic, so our gear of choice, and then 3 minutes and 30 seconds threshold, and 2 minutes recovery. So what is that? 6:45. So it's a little under 28 minutes. Maybe it's 27 minutes main set. Is that right? Seems right. So remember, threshold is above tempo. You can think of threshold, if you train it, threshold can be how you race an Olympic distance race, but only if you train it. If you never do any threshold work and you were to ride at threshold in an Olympic distance, you'd have a terrible run because you'd be burnt out. So, and also remember that, like the other zones, threshold is a zone. So there's a lower threshold and an upper threshold. And again, for like an Olympic distance race, it's going to come back to how much you train your threshold. Not saying that you should train it multiple times per week, but if you're consistent in training it over 5 months, then you could do the entire Olympic distance race pretty much at upper threshold. If you just train it a little bit, you could do it at low threshold. If you don't train it at all, you probably just have couple periods where you can go into threshold, like up on a hill or something, but then the rest of it should be tempo. And if you really don't even do any tempo riding through your training and everything's aerobic, then when you do your Olympic distance race, you're going to need to keep it aerobic because you haven't trained those systems. So you can think about it that way in terms of, we're doing this workout for a good workout today to improve our fitness, but we're also trying to improve that energy system so that we can stay in a threshold zone longer, right? If we go above threshold, then we get into what would be considered 100% of our functional threshold power, FTP, which is the power you can maintain for an hour. So if you can maintain this FTP for an hour and threshold is down here, just below it, and this is upper threshold and then lower threshold and then tempo. So depending, we have this range here. And so depending on how hard we ride, whether it's upper threshold or lower threshold, and depending on how long your bike ride is in the Olympic distance, say if your bike ride's an hour 45, because of that time, you probably want to be lower threshold. But if you're around an hour 15, then you can do that close to upper threshold because that's still below that 100% FTP. Okay, so, but it does come down to training it. So that's probably what we're working on. say 2-3 months from now, you could do these threshold sets. Like a good way that I like to do it is to do, and not to start off this way, but to build up to something like 15 minutes at your Olympic distance effort, and then 5, maybe even 10 minutes above or harder than your Olympic distance effort. So maybe that would be 15 minutes low threshold, 10 minutes at high threshold, right? And so you're training that and you're extending that duration in your training. And then you could do like 3 sets of those. So figure that's 25 minutes of really solid work. And you do that 3 times, that's an hour and 15 minutes of work. So you need a 2-hour ride between your warm up, cool down, and then a bit of recovery in between those two. If you did 15 minutes at an Olympic distance pace, 5 minutes above, then you're looking at 20-minute blocks. So 3 of those with, say, a 10-minute recovery in between. That's an hour and a half then. So still you're looking at hour 45, 2 hours to do a workout like that. But it's something to think about building up to longer term. Okay, so every 30 seconds or so, just go ahead and switch to a harder gear. I just had this thought that maybe it wasn't Thursday, so I looked at my watch. That would be funny. I thought of this. If I showed up to ride on a Wednesday, and where is everybody? The new puppy has definitely hampered my ability to work out. I'm sure that it'll get itself ironed out here in a couple weeks. That, of course, in the weather, it's harder to get as much duration in the wintertime. Daylight, rain, cold, all those things. Harder to go on a longer bike ride on the weekend. Your hands are cold. But such is the season. All right, go ahead and shift to a harder gear if you haven't. Let's start to bring up the intensity a little bit. All right, for when we do these high cadence, let's do the first one. 2 gears easier than your gear of choice. And then the second one would be 1 gear easier than gear of choice. So if you don't know what your gear of choice is, go ahead and try to switch some gears. Maybe it's the harder end of your small chain ring. Maybe it's easier end of your big chain ring. But find a place where you can ride a cadence of 90 and the effort should feel moderate. Try a few different gears. And then when you find that one you feel like is your gear of choice, go ahead and switch to 2 gears easier. And that should feel like a pretty easy gear to turn the pedals over. See what my cadence is. So without really trying very hard and without breathing hard, I'm at 91. All right, we're going to start in 40 seconds. So go ahead and get into that gear that you're going to start the first set of high cadence work in. This will be the gear that we come back to in recovery for the cadence work. Okay, so after the first one, we'll just stay here and slow our legs down. Second one, we'll go one gear harder, and then we'll come back here. All right, you ready? Here we go. 45 seconds. Really try to get it toward the 100. Try to get to that place where you start to bounce around so that you can use our form tips. Slightly draw your belly button in, elongate your spine, pull your ears out of your shoulders, relax your fingers and your elbows. And if you have cadence, see if you can touch 100. Takes a good amount of mental concentration to go over 100. All right, go ahead and relax. Let your legs slow down. Stay in the same gear. I'm going to ask Santa for a remote control fan. I'm a little cold right now. I just want to like turn it down or turn it away. Move, fan, move. Okay, you ready? So, ready, go. Bring your cadence up. And then when your cadence is nice and high, switch to that one harder gear. And keep working the cadence. See if you can get above 95. Even see if you can get to 100. Above 95, 100, it's going to take more effort. Probably should notice the additional tension in the pedals. I made it to 99. Can I make it to 100? 100. All right, recover. So one gear easier. "30 seconds here, and then we start." Give us an extra 15 seconds before we start. 4 times through, minute 15 mid aerobic, 330 threshold. If you're new and you haven't been doing much high intensity, you can do that 330 at upper aerobic or tempo. So it's a good way to adapt it for yourself. All right, ready? Here we go. So bring your cadence up, switch to that harder gear, bring your cadence up again, and that one more gear change and you should be in that gear choice. Remember, if this starts to feel too hard, you can toggle back to that easier gear. See if you can get your cadence to 90. If your cadence is like 85 and kind of stuck there, go one gear easier. If your cadence jumps to 95, stay here for like 10 seconds and then go back one gear harder. See if you can get that cadence to 90. So your gear of choice might be toggling those 2 gears. All right, when we go threshold, it should feel low end of threshold would be like between moderately hard and hard. Upper end would be closing in on hard. If you're above hard and the very hard, then you're above threshold. All right, ready? Go. 330. So you can do it a couple ways. You can stay in your gear of choice, and you can bring up your cadence, which is going to bring up your intensity. You can also go one gear above, gear of choice. Probably drop you in the low 80s as far as cadence, but that'll also raise your intensity, and you can play around with it too. Now, trying to think back to what, like I have my average speed on here. I think I was in the 21s. So I'm going to use that as a gauge to push myself for something to compete against. So here we are, 50 seconds in. I'm 20.4. So I'm going to work on bringing that up first above 21. But the whole time I need to pay attention to my effort. Nice job. We're 2 minutes in, so over halfway. All right, last 40 seconds. Finally made it to 21 miles an hour. So the next 3, my goal is to just beat that each time. I feel the sweat coming. All right, 3, 2, 1, recover. So nice, easy shift, small chainring. Find a gear there where you can hydrate, towel off. We do it all over. All right, well, hopefully now, after that minute, you feel pretty recovered. Think about how that first one felt. For myself, I feel like I can push it a little bit more. So that's my goal. That's what's nice thing about having that average lap speed, is it's a very concrete thing to compete against. All right, we're going in 15 seconds. So if you're starting the big chain ring, go ahead and get there now. All right, minute 15, mid aerobic, go. So always bring that cadence up before you switch your gears. So my focus is on the 330 is going to be to get out to a faster start. I'm going to do that with cadence and then choosing a harder gear after about 20 seconds, which will bring my intensity up, bring the speed up. All right, 5 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. 330. So faster start, I'm already 21.3. Now, just gonna work on maintaining that. I'm gonna toggle these two gears. Try to take my effort to the upper end, the threshold, and then let it come back down to the lower end and just kind of vacillate. When I start to feel that it becomes like a solidly hard, maybe starting to peg over hard towards very hard, I'll back off. So if you're forced to concentrate, you know you're in the right zone. Nice job. Minute 15 left. You may not feel like you can do Olympic distance at this effort. That's okay, because think about it. If you're doing Lava Man, you're 20 weeks out. So you have time to build up to it. But by spending that time here now, it becomes easier. All right, 3, 2, 1, recover. Small chain ring. Nice and easy. Nice job. Whew. Whew. Sweaty. So that time I did 21.4. So now my goal is 21.7. And probably next time we do this, I should just make them all more consistent, like at 21.5 or something. So that's just something that you can pay attention to. If you don't have lap speed, you could just have speed on your cadence and try to get a sense of where that speed is. Because if you have average speed on that, would average it for the whole workout. If you don't have the lap speed, all right, we gotta go. Gotta pick a good song here. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Minute 15 mid aerobic. Ready, go. All right, so if you are competing against yourself, remember it's easier when you get off to a little bit of a faster start. Easier than making up ground. Ready? Here we go. 3:30. Nice. Music can make all the difference. So when I get in these hard efforts, a lot of times I like to toggle gears, like 15 seconds in the easy gear, 15 seconds in the harder gear. It just gives you that little micro recovery, get your cadence back up. Oftentimes you can just stay in that easy gear till you feel that quick sigh of relief. and then plan your attack. Go back up. All right, we're over halfway. I got a little bit of work to do to get up to 21.7. All right, 21.6. I'm going to push this harder gear until I get to 21.8, and then I'm going to ride easier gear until it drops to 21.7. Three, two, one, recover. Easy gear change, small chain ring. So, 3 down, 1 to go. So, if you're like super tired, you can do the next one either just going into tempo or upper aerobic. You don't have to go to threshold. If you still got a lot in you, you can really try to nail it mid to upper threshold for the full 330. If you're able to look at your lap speed and you got some gas in the tank, see if you can record your best one. One more. You guys ready? All right, 3, 2, 1. Minute 15, mid aerobic. Here's a challenge for myself. Next time I do these, hit those speeds I want to hit without leaning on my power songs. My power songs really motivate me. So find a way to get there with like an average song. Sounds kind of hard at the moment. But for now, I'm sticking with my tried and true song that pumps me up. Ready? Here we go. 2, 1, go. Turning up the volume. I try not to talk much because I might start yelling. So cadence first. Cadence, and then shift gears. Nice job. All right, 3, 2, 1, recover. Whew. I definitely went above threshold. I was filled by the spirit of AC/DC. So if you are going to ever push a rep, the last one is the best one. But one mistake I see people make is they push it too far, especially in running. You have to be careful because you're more susceptible to injury if there's a prescribed workout and you really push above that. Less of a chance in cycling. So that's good. So I was probably, just guesstimating, I would say I was 40% at the threshold limit and 60% over that limit. I got about 22 miles an hour, and then I was like at 22.2, and I thought, well, let's see if I can get to 21 or 22 and a half. And I got up to 22.7, but it was really creeping into the full on very hard. So I scaled back, a couple easier gears, and I dropped to 22.5. My goal really was 22, so I'll take it. Man, I'm a sweaty mess. Hopefully you can get through at least 3/4 of the bottle before the ride's over. All right, let's cool down. So small chain ring, you're probably already there. Shift one gear easier. Every 15 seconds, we're going to shift the gear easier. But remember, we're not going to use the last two gears. So some of you will get to that third gear before the others, depending on where we all started from. All right, one gear easier. Oh, sorry, I meant harder. So one gear harder. All right, one more gear harder, unless you're already in that third gear. I've got one more left, so we'll do two more gear changes just in case people need to get there. All right, one more harder. All right, so for me, I'm in gear number 3. So next time, on the next shift, we'll have everybody get to that third gear. So when you look down, should easily, so one gear uncovered, and then the next one's right, the other one's, number 2 is right next to the chain. So it's harder to see. Okay, one gear harder. Let's have everybody get to that third gear. I'm gonna mix up the cool down a little bit. Okay, right where we're at, let's go ahead and spin it up to a higher cadence for 10 seconds. Ready, go. So not, it'll be super high, but just think about bringing that cadence up a little bit. All right, relax, same gear. Let the legs slow down. Okay, in 5 seconds, we're gonna go a gear easier, and then we're gonna spin it up for 10 seconds. Ready, go. So one gear easier. Let's bring our cadence up just for 10 seconds. All right, go ahead and same gear, just let your legs slow down. Hello, Addie. Okay, one gear easier now, and let's spin it up for 15 seconds. Bring your cadence up. 5 more seconds. Okay, same gear, just let your legs start to slow down. Okay, ready? One more time. So easy gear change. Spin it up. Shouldn't be really experiencing much in the way of effort. All right, same gear, let your legs slow down. If you're out of gears, you don't have to go one gear easier. But if you still have one more gear where you can go one gear easier, we'll do that one more time. Okay, ready? Here we go. Go. 15 seconds. All right, same gear, just let your legs slow down. All right, pick your favorite recovery gear. I went one gear harder. Nice and easy. We're gonna stay here for 50 more seconds and then we'll call it good. So we'll end up with like 46 and a half minutes. Daddy, no. You probably don't want to know what I just saw. Puppies. No bueno. All right, that's a wrap. Leave it. I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Hey, Patricia.